Welcome to the Ask Faleskini podcast with a guest. We are here with incredible Teré Foster of the ARC7 movement. And we are shooting the fourth of the 7-episode series about the ARC7. And today we will discuss financial collaboration as envisioned by Teré. Teré, welcome back to the show. Really great having you here, and let's dive directly into financial collaboration in the ARC7 community, how you envisioned it.
Sounds great. Was that a question, or do you want to start with a question?
I would like to start with the question.
Oh, okay.
How do you envision financial collaboration of the ARC7 movement and society?
Okay, so like the most simple way to describe it would be like how a husband and wife collaborate financially, where they combine their income and can do twice as much as they could with just one income. That's a simple way to do it, or to think about it. But in the sense of husband and wife, they come together and they build something great. They envision something long term. They buy a house, or maybe a second house, a car, a second car, whatever it is they want to do together. And so that is something that, as a group, if you had that same concept where everyone financially collaborated, um, uh, I'm going to go step back to the husband and wife thoughts, is that maybe they have their own money set, and they have their collaboration money for the house or the whatever. So there might be some separate income going on, and there might be, some house account that they share in order to pay bills or whatever like that. So that's what I was thinking. But with these 50 leaders, they would come together, they would financially collaborate, they would do what they can, have much bigger vision, because they're 50 instead of just two. And then as they start to imagine what could be done, what they would like, what they dream of, they can have these conversations, and then start to implement after they have had time to talk about it.
As a certified risk manager, I have to assume the devil's advocate position right now.
Yeah.
And you talked about the best case scenario when husband and wife, they collaborate, they make much more together than they would each separately. Some expenses, as we know, are almost the same for one person or for four person, especially if you have a house. And that is something that you intend to multiply in an ARC7 community. However, we also know that in the US, the biggest challenge is divorce. And we also know that ladies get much better settlements in the divorce procedures than
I could argue with that one.
Okay, I'm talking about the averages, not the specific cases. So you mentioned how people will pool their resources in order to grow, and everyone will be specialized, and they will be entitled to have their own budget within the ARC7 community. So I would imagine that this own budget is not just spending money for the movies and stuff like that, but it's also a safety net if they would decide to leave the community.
Right.
How do you feel about it? Did you consider it at all in your vision of the financial collaboration of the ARC7 community?
Well, everybody needs to be free to come and go, right? And so there has to be some kind of agreement from the beginning that when they want to go, that there's a way out, an instant or easy, maybe not instant, but easy exit agreement. Nobody wants to feel trapped, and but when you do, when you create anything, there is a long-term commitment. You can't just think that you're going to do well if you quit halfway through, or at any point before it has reached its fulfillment. The hard part in a marriage, obviously, is that you set something up to be this very long range growth, and you expect it to reach fulfillment, and then the relationship goes wrong, and that means your finances went wrong, and that is what made me feel like if there were more people involved, then people can come and go as they feel and they want to, without it being a complete collapse of that vision that they were working towards. So that's how does that sound to you? Just to me, it seems more resilient
As a risk
to have
manager,
more people.
I agree that more people means lower risk. I 100% agree with that. However, your system that everyone can go and new people can come in only works until there's a higher demand for coming in than people going out. Because if everyone wants to leave, then you have a problem. Or if majority of the people will leave, then you have a problem. And especially if they will take their share out and you have to cash them out. And similar, if the money is not vested in property, in business and stuff like that, there's going to be a huge problem of just moving out, especially if you want to give them some kind of compensation for whatever contribution they did in the past for the community.
Yes, it's true. And so you want to have people who see that and know that. And, you come in, even like in a marriage, you come in and you think you're going to stay forever, and then things change. Your heart changes, your ideals or your ideas or your vision for your life might change. And so much is resting on that emotional component. Your financial welfare is resting on emotional things that change, that it has become clear that that's not a good way to do it. So if you instead rest it on financial goals, financial well-being, and commitments, just like any other commitment, a financial commitment, then you wouldn't be able to just exit a financial commitment very easily. There would be, fees for breaking the terminating early or whatever. You just have to set it up in a good way where people just won't come in easily unless they intend to stay, and so that was it all has to do with how you plan it and how you write up agreements, and make it easy, but not, let's say, not impossible to get out, but not so easy that everyone's leaving the project in a bad situation, financially floundering. You don't want that.
Okay, I have another question that I believe is important, and especially if in legal firms they have a long vetting process before anyone can enter the partnership. Did you thought about that component, that a vetting process should be elaborated? Because if you vet people in the right way and they are vetted, according to some standards, then you have much less problems down the line.
Exactly right.
If you are not open, like everyone can buy a share on a stock exchange, and if you are more close, like a partnership, then things might be, or they're at least what we see in the legal firms, they are much more durable and persistent to ups and downs.
Right. Yes. I agree. So, first of all, in English, we say vetting.
Yeah.
Vetting. Wetting means to get someone wet with water.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
So vetting people,
Yeah.
that's a big part of the certification process. That's why it's so important. And that's why every single member has to go through that process so that they're not coming in lightly or not aware of the gravity of the situation if they leave, or just not maybe seeing, if somebody's come in without a lot of information and they just thought it was going to be something different than they anticipated, then now that's how you would have people coming and going too much. But they have to come in and see the whole picture, be involved in the planning, be carefully read and be aware of each part of the agreement so that they don't get in and go, "What? I didn't expect this. I was thinking something completely different." So it really is most important. The very first step is to go through that certification so that you really are all on the same page. Or early on, say, I'm not on this page. I don't get it at all. I don't want to do this. So it's really important to start with that information. That's it. It's just filling your heart and mind with
Another
lots.
hard question before we continue with the easiest ones. 80% of the US population is financially irresponsible. So if you put from 50 people, 40 people will be financially irresponsible, and they will have a vote and they will have a say. Do you believe that financially irresponsible people can be in charge of or be part of financially irresponsible community?
That is a very good question too, especially if you're bringing in young people, because it's a new thing and it's going to take a long, many decades to bring to fruition. You have to probably find university students that, and that's what I've been working with, is university students, and that um, without having, you just don't know, do you? There's no way to know it. And it's the same with any new type of experiment, even just coming to America, right? And that whole, it was all a big experiment. Of course, this is much smaller scale, so you don't have as much riding on it. But I hear you. If people are irresponsible, can the system work? That remains to be seen. We just have to have some way of making ensure. You would know better than I, because you're so good at that stuff, how to plan it so that it runs itself to some extent, even if people are irresponsible.
Okay. You talk about sustainable relationships as the key. How will you implement these sustainable relationships? Where is the trick that we don't understand now, because we are all in let's say in unsustainable relationships, or we get involved, and the most of our relationships right now are really superficial. how will ARC7 community build the sustainable relationship? How will the people that are now used to superficial relationship be able to migrate into sustainable relationships?
Again, a very good question. By offering, all I can do, right, is offer the information, offer the training, offer the opportunity to try things a different way, and then watch it unfold. Does it work? You know, if it doesn't work, then we'd have to change the training, add more things. I have already done this process with 250 university students. So I did see some things were missing and I had to add things. And just real obvious things that I thought were obvious. I had to just make a statement and add it to the training or they didn't know. So it is going to be like that. And that's the way any human system has ever evolved is,
Isn't the
trial and
evolution
error.
part of sustainability?
Okay, say it again.
Isn't the evolution part of sustainability?
Yeah.
Because the system
Okay, I
will
thought
start
that's what you
somewhere
said.
and then you will evolve it into better and better system based
Yes,
on the needs and
exactly.
the desires. So
Exactly. And if there is if the system is created to adjust and to evolve, then it will work. If there is this hard and fast, rule and you can't change it and it's always the same, now you've just got, a church or, some of these other entities where they have this hard line and you got to follow it. And then if it no longer meets the needs of society, they're still stuck in something that worked many decades ago or something. So there has to be a constant shift and change as people are changing. As we see, that people are always changing and growing. So does that
okay.
answer your question?
You mentioned in one of our conversations that you made a huge prototype of the ARC7 community in Rwanda. Could you give us a little insight of why Rwanda would be a good prototype and why there should be a good place to start with large-scale prototypes?
Okay, so in Rwanda, they were willing to do the training. That's the only reason why I am working with Rwandans is because so many of them jumped right in and their friends invited more friends. And so now we have 250 people have completed the training and we started projects. We started a chicken farm, a restaurant, a hardware store, a grocery store, different things. Some were owned by one person and some were group efforts. We just the only criteria really that Rwanda had that that they were able to meet that others didn't is that they just were willing to do the training. So it always comes back to that training because there's the ground that you're going to build on and that foundation. If people are willing to do the training, think things through a different way, or even discuss it or put in their own contribution of what they think it should be, that kind of thing, now we've got something to work on or work from. And if you don't have that very basic first step, you can't even get started.
Okay, so training is also the base for financial collaboration, if I understood correctly. So it's not just a thing, but also training.
and sustainable relationships, and just the vision of what can be or what could be. It all starts with that first step of going through this training. And I don't even know if it's called really a training, but it's an overview, or what else would you call it? Anyway, it's just the idea that you have to fill everybody with the same information first before they can start to um, collaborate and or even change the vision.
Would you agree with the thesis that the biggest problem in today's society is that people entering this society, either moving from other places abroad or that are brought up in the US, have the biggest challenge is that they are not educated how society works and what is expected of them in order to be successful and meaningful to the society?
That's so true. And maybe they don't even think it's a high priority to be part of society, which is, that's too bad too. But there are others, I think, who are ready. So let's say it seems like half and half. Whenever I am out and, talking to people, about half say, "Oh my gosh, this is so great. Oh, I'd love this. I want to be a part of this," and then the other half is like, "What? Whatever," and they'll debunk everything I say. And so perhaps some people like the idea and would jump right in, and others wouldn't even see the value of it. So that's what is good about, especially in America, we have that choice. We can do whatever you want. What's bad is when somebody gets an idea like socialism or communism or whatever their idea is, and then you have a gun to your head. You can't choose whether you want to be involved or not. But in this case, it's a simple choice. You want to be involved? Does this sound interesting to you? Would you like to be part of this experiment? And and then also just be really open the whole time, whether it's working, and just say, "This isn't working for me," or "We need to change this thing over here is not working." That's the whole point of anything that works well, is that there's good communication, open communication, and that things can change and improve. That's that hope of improvement is what I am really focused on.
Thank you, Teré, for all these insights tonight. And I'm really looking forward to the fifth part of the 7th series next week.
Thank you so much. This has been so exciting.